Potatoes get sick a lot. So when potatoes do get sick, their family members call me. I'm the potato doctor.
The potato doctor, all liability is assumed by the patient. Results may vary. Side effects of treatment include loss of deliciousness, softening, bruising, rotting, and being eaten.
If you're a sick potato, give me a ring. For all their time together, humans have tried their best to keep potatoes from getting sick. Due to their lack of genetic diversity, potato diseases are pretty common. See, every living thing is made of code called genes. Some plants produce using sexual reproduction, which results in an offspring that is genetically different from the parent. But potatoes are different. They produce via a process called vegetative propagation, which means a new potato grows from a part of the old potato. This propagation vegetation process doesn't create a genetically new baby, but instead makes a clone of the parent. Potato diseases are no fun for potatoes, but they're not necessarily a treat for farmers either. To learn more about these diseases, we talked to some friends at the University of Idaho, Idaho Falls.
I'm Dr. Wayne B. Jones, or I have worked for the university for about 30 years and recently retired.
So my name is Kasia Duellman, and I am with University of Idaho. I'm a potato pathologist, and I'm in Idaho Falls.
There are 7 different entities that cause disease. Potatoes get all 7. Other diseases, they spray. If the pressure's there, if the conditions are right, they'll spray for other diseases, but late blight is their main worry.
Potato diseases vary in cause and effect, including parasitic, bacterial, fungal, protestin, viral, and others. Transmitted by pests like the Colorado potato beetle, more on that later, or potato tuber moth, or just present in soil, diseased potatoes must be discarded, resulting in lower profits for farmers and less food for the rest of us. Humans have been no stranger to potato diseases. Potatoes were brought to Western Europe by Spaniards who imported them from Peru and Colombia in the early 1500s. Because the entirety of Western potatoes drew their heritage from such small batches, diseases were far more numerous in Europe than they were in South America. In the early 1700s, a German paint company invented a new green paint. This paint, which was eventually dubbed Paris green, was made from extremely toxic arsenic and copper. Yeah, they could pretty much do whatever they wanted back then. As people started to realize just how toxic this paint was, they started to use it as pesticide and insecticide. It was supposedly sprayed on rats in Parisian sewers in the early 1800s, sprayed by American farmers to control the tobacco budworm later in the century, and used by Italians during World War II to prevent malaria. But it was most used by American potato growers to prevent the ultimate arch nemesis, the Colorado potato beetle. Eventually, the Colorado potato beetle grew to resist Paris green and all other pesticides. But toxins had already made its mark on potato farmers.
Chemical companies are always developing new fungicides and insecticides.
Chemical compounds within the food industry are heavily regulated, and Paris green is no longer used in the US. With the rise of public concern, sourcing and production of food, another hot topic has taken the spotlight in the potato world: GMOs. Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, are living organisms that have had their genes edited to produce favorable characteristics. Before modern day, if a farmer wanted to grow plants that, say, resisted cold weather better, they could take 2 plants that resisted cold weather the best and breed them, hoping the specific characteristic would be present in the child plant. This process, called crossbreeding, has its limitations. This can be unreliable, takes time, and the growers can only crossbreed with the same plant. But in the late 20th century, this process was superseded. Biotechnology allowed scientists to copy, paste, and cut genes from organisms, removing negative traits and adding positive ones, both from the same organism and from others. Most GMOs produce higher yields, last longer, and even taste better. Genetically modifying plants has also reduced the need for pesticides. However, not every item in the supermarket is genetically modified. Currently, there are around 30 genetically modified foods or food products available for purchase. Mostly crops like corn, soybeans, and sugar beets, as well as meats like salmon and non-edible crops like flowers. So where does that leave us with taters? Well, I'm sure our friends will know.
When I get onto the forums online, I don't know that the perception is clearly communicated, except for just a general antipathy or a general opposition or a general dislike. And I don't know why. I don't know where that distrust comes from. We have not communicated very well what GMO is. You know, there are legitimate questions that people can and should ask. At what level, though, will they be satisfied?
Potatoes have come a long way since they were first domesticated. Humans have changed the crop for better and for worse. And the research continues. Diseases like common scab, pests like the Colorado potato beetle, and conversation surrounding GMOs drives the food science industry to develop solutions for farmers. People have mixed feelings about many of these solutions, which is good. Conversation creates progress. But I know one thing, I'd much rather trust modern science than that potato doctor guy.